What's up, ladies and gents? We got a lot to cover in this module. We are getting into finding, analyzing, and negotiating home run deals for you as real estate investors so you can build a multi-million dollar portfolio, create the financial freedom that you deserve, get amazing deals that you can flip and generate profits. It all comes down to finding these deals, analyzing them, and negotiating great deals for yourself and your business. So let's jump right in. Today we're going to cover analyzing properties, what numbers you actually need when you're analyzing, and kind of some of the platforms that we use when analyzing properties. On market deals versus off market deals, motivated sellers, negotiating with sellers, getting the contract. I'm going to give you guys a copy of my multi-million dollar script that we have used to create millions of dollars. You're going to have access to that. We're going to be doing some script work here today. We got a banger of a video here for you today. So, analyzing properties, let's get right in. This is what I call the numbers that you're going to need. Okay, first off, the numbers you're going to need when you're analyzing any real estate deal. I don't care what it is, you're always going to need what we call the core four of real estate, which is what is the after repair value. If this property was all fixed up, what would it sell for? You need to know that. You need to look at comparable properties of to your subject property. What properties are comparable, but what do they look like? What would it sell for if it was all fixed up? Right? In addition, let me put a little asterisk next to ARV. You also want to look at what similar properties in the same area are selling for as is. So are there any other fixer-upper type properties that are similar to yours in the same area? What did those trade for to other cash deals? What are other cash buyers paying for properties in the area? Those are two important numbers. So ARV plus as is comps. You're going to obviously need to know the purchase price. This is what you're calculating here. Rehab, it could be a little bit tricky. We're going to talk about that. And then what would this property rent for? Okay, when you're analyzing rental properties and whatnot that you're potentially going to add to your portfolio, how do we analyze the rent and get the rent comparables as well? Well, I'm here to let you know Zillow is an amazing tool. You might be thinking, I've heard nothing but bad things about Zillow. Probably from me, because I've been, no one has been more critical of Zillow than me, especially over the years, but they have improved dramatically. And what we like when we're looking at comparables on Zillow is we look at sold properties. So they have a really awesome drawing tool, and you can draw around an immediate area, an immediate neighborhood, if you will, subdivision, and you can look at the previous sales and what these properties sold for. But you also want to look at active properties, because if this is a property that you would be buying to resell on the market, what is your competition? What are other active properties that you would be competing against if you had listed this particular property? Also, you want to pay attention to active properties, because if this is one you're buying off market and eventually you are going to refinance, well, when you do that refinance, you're going to need to get the property appraised. So an appraiser is going to look at other active properties as well. So Zillow is an amazing tool for this. In our private community, we have endless videos and comp trainings and the details of how we utilize Zillow. It's an amazing platform for our private community members. And we are looking at after repair value. We're looking at what fixed up houses sold for, what as is properties sold for, and what active properties are currently on the market. Another amazing tool that I encourage you to check out is creamdata.ai. We actually white labeled data company's platform because we used it so much. We were like, we need to be offering this to other people. So creamdata.ai is a great way to find comparables, also rent comparables, and you can actually get marketing lists. So the next part I'm going to be talking about is marketing lists, finding motivated sellers. We get all that from creamdata.ai, just so you know. Another great tool is Rentometer or Rentometer, whatever you want to call it, and that's going to give you some solid rent comps, right? You want to pay attention to what something's going to rent for. And for rent comps, we actually use Zillow as well. So Zillow and Rentometer for rent comps. We like to use Zillow for active properties and sold properties in that immediate area. And we use Cream Data for rent comps, sales comps, and our marketing data. So analyzing rehab numbers can be a little bit tricky. I'm here to let you know, work with professionals. Sometimes we deal with newer investors and they want to kind of nickel and dime the contractor. They want to find people off, Facebook, and they want to find people on Craigslist who are going to, give them the best price. The best price is not always, the best route here. If you're dealing with these kind of people who are, doing shoddy work, you're going to have to pay for it at some point. You either pay now or you pay later. Work with professionals, because if you work with shoddy people and who do shoddy work, you're going to need to micromanage these people, and it's going to absorb so much of your time and energy, and you're going to wish you just worked with professionals from the very beginning. You get what you pay for. It's better to work with professionals so you don't have to babysit. Let's call it like it is. You don't have to babysit these people. They're going to do a great job, and your house is going to pass inspection, appraisal, and you're getting a quality job. Quality over quantity. Let's not try to nickel and dime the contractors or the rehab. Always factor in a fudge factor to your offer. So remember, you're going to be coming up with your all in, right? What is my purchase price and what is my rehab? You want to keep that below 75%, right? When you're looking at different rental properties. The reason, once again, you want to be below 75% is because if you're going to do a refinance, well, the lender who refinances you is only going to give you 75% of the ARV. So when you're making offers, you want to be all in for less than 75%. So when you're looking at the repairs, that's one part of the equation of the all in. The repairs are the repairs. It's not that negotiable. What is negotiable is that purchase price. So you need to pay attention to the rehab numbers and get the best possible purchase price you possibly can to keep you below that all in 75%. That's going to keep you safe. This way, once you actually get it fixed up, when you go to refinance, you're not going to have any issues refinancing. Try to be all in for 75% or less. Okay, and factor a fudge factor in. So if you get a bid or a scope of work for $30,000 in rehab, I immediately would add 10K to that. Right? So let's pretend you're all in. You're looking at the scope of work from a contractor. It's 30K in work and a $70,000 purchase price. Okay, my all in's 100. Well, I would say no. My all in is 40. I was 110, right? I would add 10K to any scope of work that you get and then factor that into your offer. Right? If you need to be all in for 100K on this deal and the seller wants 70 and you got a bid for 30, making it 100, right? I would offer the seller less. I would say, look, we can't give you the 70. We can only do 60 because my rehab bid is 40. You got to add money into that scope of work, right? Into the purchase price. Purchase the property for less to meet your all-in requirements by adding a fudge factor into the rehab to the scope of work. Okay? Treat contractors and service providers as team members. It's not this big competition. Work together. Work very nicely with other contractors. They absolutely are a member of your team, and treat them such. Okay? Off market versus on market. On-market properties are properties simply listed with a realtor that are on the MLS. You might see it on Zillow. You might see it, if a realtor is sending you listings. An on-market property is one that we consider. We consider it on market if it is listed currently with a broker or an agent. Off market is when you are going direct to seller. And by the way, off market is my favorite form of getting deals. You always get the best deals, right? When you're dealing directly with the seller. But that is what we call on market and off market. On market is listed and represented with a realtor or broker. Off market, you're going direct to seller. And if you are making offers on market properties, you're going to want to have a licensed realtor submitting these offers for you. That tends to work better. And another shameless plug, in our private community, when you're a member of our private coaching community, we actually assign you a deal finder, licensed realtor, to submit your offers for you. This way, you're creating compelling offers. And when we're offering on market properties, we're offering, we're working it in where the seller is going to contribute to our closing costs, contribute to any out-of-pocket expenses for us, and the seller can actually contribute to that And that is going to mean less money from us out of pocket. You want to work all that into these offers for on-market properties and have a professional submitting these offers for you. We'll help you create the offer, but you want to have a licensed realtor submit the offer for you. And then when it comes to off-market, you're working directly with the seller, and that's just where you got to get the best deal you possibly can. No middleman, negotiate directly with the seller. So, examples of motivated sellers where you're getting these off-market deals. Probate is an amazing one. Probate is when somebody passes away and you would be then working with the executor of their estate. So when somebody owns real estate, they pass away, then after they're passed away, an executor steps in, which is typically a family member, something like that, and you will be working directly with them to purchase this property for all cash. I can't tell you how many deals we get from probate. It's all public record as well. So I highly encourage you to look into this, and you can get probate data from creamdata.ai once again as well. But we love probate because you got to think the person who inherited the property, there's not a lot of emotional attachment. They pretty much just want to get rid of it. They don't live there, and you're able to give them a great offer, all cash, and buy properties from people who inherit the properties. Absentee owners. An absentee owner is somebody who owns a piece of property but does not live there. How do you know they don't live there? Well, the tax records show the person who owns the property has their tax mailing bill, has their tax bill mailed to a different address. That is considered an absentee owner. Now, this could be a landlord. This could be somebody who inherited the property. It's maybe a rental property for them. It's a second home, something like that, which generally implies there is less emotion to this property since they don't live there. It is not their home. And I can't tell you how many tired landlords we find just through the absentee owner list. And what we'll do is get a list of absentee owners with equity. That's the kind of the next thing here. Anyone you're targeting and marketing, you want to make sure not only are they absentee where they don't live there, but they also have a lot of equity in the property. That's going to give them room in this so they can actually negotiate. You can actually get a good deal. If somebody owes too much on the property, you're going to be hard pressed to get a deep discount and get somebody to sell their property for less than what they owe. So we like to target owners who have a lot of equity, meaning they've owned the property for a number of years, or they own the property free and clear. And again, that's all public record as well. And creamdata.ai will pull those lists for you guys also. Marketing channels for your data. Let's say you got a data list of absentee owners, free and clear properties, high equity properties, probate. You can do direct mail. If you're doing outbound marketing, you can either do direct mail or you can do some form of cold calling or cold texting. I am much more of a fan of the direct mail route if doing outbound marketing, simply because I think it's less intrusive. And it works. I can't tell you, we've bought hundreds of houses from direct mail campaigns. The trick with direct mail, it's not about what postcard you send. It's not about the color of the postcard, anything like that. It's the quality of the data list. So you want to target in on the appropriate geography, i.e. you want to target in on affordable housing, properties ARV 100 to 250 works very well. And you want to target specifics on the properties. I want all the minimum 3 bedroom, 1 bath properties with equity in this geographical area. That's going to put you in that you're targeting. You're a sniper, not a shotgun. You get the data of exactly what it is that you're looking for and hit them with mail, and it really does work. So the quality of the data list and knowing what it is that you want is more important than what you actually send them. It really doesn't matter. I can show you some examples of some of these postcards we've sent over the years. I mean, it looks like a 3-year-old wrote this thing. It looks terrible. It's funny though, and it always works. So direct mail's great. Cold calling, cold text. There's a lot of what is it? I don't even know FTC, right? The Trade Commission. I mean, there's all sorts of rules and laws about this stuff. Not to mention a lot of the companies out there who will offer to do your calling and texting and all that. I mean, you could do it yourself. I would prefer you did it yourself if you were going to go down this path. A lot of these third-party companies, they're overseas. The people got a thick accent. I mean, my phone blows up. I get these calls all the time because I'm on so many marketing lists from owning properties. It's just not a good look. It's not a good vibe. I don't feel great about it. It is a way to get deals, though. Maybe that is better for you, something to consider. But if you're going outbound, I would say go with direct mail. Okay. Excuse me. Moving on. More offline marketing, driving for dollars is probably one of the most underappreciated and underutilized marketing channels. And this is where you're just simply driving neighborhoods and you're looking for properties that are somewhat neglected, meaning maybe there's stuff growing out of the gutters, maybe there's chipped paint, maybe the grass is overgrown, and you're jotting the address down, looking up the owners through the public records, and sending them some type of marketing letter. Or you could actually knock on their door if you have the courage to do that. Or, there's apps out there. I'll give you a quick nugget here. Deal Machine's amazing. If you send me a DM and communicate with me, I'll send you our affiliate link. That'd be great because they'll buy my coffee and I think they buy you some coffee too, meaning they'll give us a little money or a spiff or a credit or do something. I don't know what it is, but we do have an affiliation with them. Deal Machine's amazing. It's just a little app on your phone. You can drive around, take a picture with this app of the neglected property, and it'll look up the owner for you. You can even send a marketing piece. Just send a letter, send a postcard just from clicking a button. It's a truly amazing, innovative way to drive for dollars. Check that out. Deal Machine, hit me up for our link. Door knocking, if you have the courage to do it. Bandit signs are the signs that you see posted on telephone poles and corners and street corners. If you're going to do it, great, but expect to hear from the city. It's amazing. I mean, they don't like it, but it does work. And we have done that many, many times over the years and gotten great deals. It is a great way to get the phone ringing, but you got to expect to get slapped on the wrist sometimes when you are doing bandit signs. Here's our favorite way to market. What we do in our business here, all we do is online marketing. So we're doing Facebook ads and pay per click. It works very well, but I'm going to let you know, beware. It works, but we have a hefty budget. I mean, we're putting 5 figures a month consistently into this stuff, and we have a system, and we know what we're doing. If you're brand new, I'm going to tell you to stay away from the Facebook ads and the PPC because you could find yourself in a black hole of just spending money and it's not working and you don't know why it's not working. I mean, this has taken years of critiquing and figuring it all out behind and Google AdWords and all this stuff. And we've done it. I mean, we do it in our own business. But if you're brand new, I'm just going to give you a red flag on this one. I don't want to see you guys dumping a ton of money into something that you don't have figured out yet. If you do it, start small. And maybe you can take some courses and whatnot. I also am weary about having third-party companies do the ads for us. They typically charge large fees and stuff like that, and it's almost nearly impossible to have them to kind of track their work. I mean, they just don't. It's very interesting. It could cost you a lot of money. I'm looking to have you avoid doing that. And if you want online leads, let's skip over SEO for a minute and go right for pay per lead. This is the way to do it. This is what you guys should be doing. You get online leads, but you just pay for the lead direct. You don't have to set up the whole ad campaign. You don't have to do all the spending and stuff like that. And we have an affiliation with an amazing company. The company is called Property Leads. And they do all the online advertising for us and for them and for everyone. And then they just sell you the lead direct. This is the way to do it. You only pay for what you kill. You shoot what you kill. You only pay for what's on your plate, right? You're not just spending money and throwing money at these ad campaigns. So look into pay per lead. It's amazing, creamleads.com. And again, if you sign up for Property Leads through our link, they give us coffee money and you coffee money too. So we all win. And lastly is SEO. So we have a YouTube channel, Sell House Columbus. You can check out our website, by the way. We have a website, sellhousecolumbus.com. And then every time we buy a property, we've been doing, not every time, but we try to always get a video testimonial from the seller. And then we post those on our YouTube channel, which is Sell House Columbus, something like that, Sell House Fast Columbus. And we actually use in the description of every video, we put a link to our website, and it just helps with the SEO. We've been doing it so long. Google likes us at this point. It's a slow roll to get this SEO rolling, but we get at least 1 lead, 2 leads a week, and we got deal. We have a great deal, home run deal in contract right now that came organically through our website. And again, it's a slow roll, but it is worth pursuing if you're in the business for the long term. The sooner you get this thing started with the SEO, the better. And the more content you can produce and put out on YouTube and get seller testimonials and stuff like that, it's going to drive traffic to that website. Negotiating with sellers. Okay. Now, Remember, please remember, relax. You are a human being and so are they. You are not a robot. We are going to be getting into the script, and I'm going to completely preface the script conversation with you guys in that I don't want you guys to read anything verbatim. If you sound scripty, you've already lost. You've got to be a genuine, empathetic, authentic human being, and you are going to do great. I get new clients and new community members all the time. They say, I'm not very salesy. Don't, good, good. Don't be salesy. It's not a salesy kind of thing. It is a problem solving thing. It is being there for somebody, understanding their problems and helping them through whatever situation they're in. It's not about some reading some script verbatim. Now, I am going to go through the script with you and I'm going to give you the script, but I want you to pick little nuggets from the script and use it in your own authentic communication. Be confident, not arrogant. Nobody wants to work with somebody who's just over the top, right? Be confident though. No, you're learning from us. You're with the cream now, right? You're learning from guys and who do this authentically and genuinely, and you can be confident in these negotiations. I'm very happy to help you through this stuff. Be confident. Tell the seller about your process early in the call to remove fear. Let me give you a quick example. Could you imagine if you went to the doctor, you got your blood taken, and they were running blood tests, and then you got a call from the doctor's office, and they said, hey, make sure you're available at 2 o'clock. The doctor's going to call you. It's really important. They went through your blood test and they got some stuff they want to talk to you about. So just be ready at 2 o'clock. And then they hang up. What are you going to be doing? You're going to freak out. You're going to lose your mind. You're going to think, what did they find? What did they find on this blood test? Maybe I have cancer. Maybe I'm dying. Sad. It's crazy, right? Or let me do this again. Let's reframe it. Now, what if you got your blood taken and the doctor's office called you and said, "Hey, I work for the doctor's office. Are you available for 2 o'clock? The doctor would like to speak with you. Don't worry, everything's perfectly fine. They just want to go through the results. Everything's totally fine. There's nothing to worry about whatsoever. But are you available at 2 o'clock to talk to the doctor?" You'd set your appointment for 2. Would you be nervous about that call? No, it's cool. They already told me everything's fine. Well, the same goes with this house buying stuff. When you got a seller on the phone, you need to tell them your process. How do you buy? Well, Mr. Mrs. Seller, here's how this works. We're going to find out if your property is a good fit for us and we're a good fit for you. If not, no pressure. We can shake hands and part as friends. I just want to learn more about the property and the situation. If it's a good fit, I'll send you a very simple purchase and sale agreement. No fine print. Go through it with you right over the phone. We actually do a digital sign for it. It's very simple. As soon as I get that, which I'll go through with you over the phone on your smartphone. I'll send it over to the title company. Are you familiar with a title and escrow company? Oh, yeah, I think I've seen those before. Great. Well, they're going to do a title search. Just make sure there's no liens against the property or anything like that. By the way, we pay for it all. Nothing you need to pay for. And then we're actually going to send our inspector over. They're going to come take pictures. Don't worry about cleaning up, anything like that. They're not taking pictures of your stuff. They're looking for cracks and we're taking measurements. We're looking at the cabinets. We're looking at the repairs we're eventually going to need to do. There's nothing to worry about whatsoever. After the inspector gets done, after the title report gets back, we're going to get this thing rolling and we'll get this thing wrapped up for you. And the title company is going to have your money for you. You know, I don't send you the money directly. I send the money to them and then they're going to send you the money, the proceeds for the deal, either by wire, by check, and it's that simple. In fact, when you sell the house, when we get to the part where you're actually selling the property and the deal's getting closed, you don't even need to go to the title company. They'll send you a mobile notary. It is so easy, and that's how we do business. You're doing this early in the call, everybody. What I just did, I absolutely tell them exactly how this would work if we work together. We don't even know if we're going to be working together, and they already know how we do business. They already know what it would be like to work with us. Do you see how that removes all the fear and anxiety? Just like the doctor, hey, there's nothing to worry about. This is what it would look like if we work together. And this is before you talk numbers. It absolutely mandatory has to be before you talk money, numbers, and things like that. No surprises. This is very valuable information that I'm giving you, and it works like a charm, and it just removes the anxiety from the seller because as soon as the seller starts to feel anxiety, or if they think you're not authentic, guess what? Their spidey senses go off, and the answer is always going to be no. They may love you. They may not even know why they're not wanting to work with you, but something, they get a feeling. And that is what we're looking to avoid. You need to be authentic and you need to remove all fear and anxiety by talking about the process, building rapport, and understanding their need for selling, understanding their motivation in selling. All of this needs to happen before you ever talk about the money. If I'm going to teach you anything, it's this: know their motivation, build authentic rapport, and explain your simple process before you ever get into the money and the offers and things like that. Please, you will be so successful by listening to this advice, by following this advice. Okay? So, negotiating with sellers, the way you're going to do this is kind of like a seesaw. You're going to talk about the house a little bit, then talk about the situation a little bit, because you need to understand when you're buying from motivated sellers, they typically have some dirty laundry and they're not really interested in airing out the dirty laundry right off the bat to you, right? They don't even know you. You don't have rapport yet. So you're not just going to get into why are you selling and tell me about all your life problems, right? I mean, nobody's going to want to work with you. It's coming in too hot, right? So the way you're going to build authentic rapport and kind of talk about your process and whatnot is by talking about the house. Now, a big mistake would be you get a lead, 123 Main Street, and you do all the research and due diligence on the house. Okay, you see it's a 3 bedroom, 1 bath with a 1 car garage, 1,200 square foot house. Perfect. You know all this going into the call, and now you approach the seller as a know-it-all. Oh, Mr. Seller, I see it's a 3 bedroom, 1 bath, 1 car garage, 1,200 square feet, right? Yeah. How did That's terrible because you're not letting the seller talk. You know too much. Even if you have your data, even if you have your specs, which you will, right? As a real estate investor, let the seller tell you about the house. Talk about the house. And then once they're talking about the house, you can kind of plug in, well, tell me about the situation too, right? Then back to the house a little bit and talk about what they know and the bedrooms and bathrooms and the floors and things like that. Now back to their situation and their personal stuff a little bit. You teeter totter in and out of this thing, bob and weave a little bit. And the way you're going to build authentic rapport is through FORM. That stands for friends and family, occupation, recreation. FOR must come before the M, which is money. So when they're telling you about the house and they tell you about the basement that their son, who's going off to college, used to sleep in. Oh, the basement's a bedroom, and my son used to stay down there, but he's going off to college. That's a perfect opportunity to build rapport. What did they say? Well, they just mentioned a family member, their son, and they just mentioned something that's going on, going off to college. So stop and say, oh, your son's going to college. What college are they going to? Genuinely be curious, genuinely be interested, and this is how you're going to be successful. If they talk about, oh, I'm moving for my job, find out what their job is. Talk about their job authentically, genuinely be curious about their situation. You have to be. And if you're just not authentic and genuine, you're not going to be successful. Nobody can help you. You got to be empathetic here. We need to be, be authentic and you will win. If you're so hardcore that you just don't care about anybody else, you're never going to succeed at anything. It's never going to work for you. This life thing is not working out for you. But make sure you're building genuine rapport, friends and family, occupation, recreation, what they do for fun. If they mention they are moving to Florida so they can golf more, well, you better be talking about golf. Be genuine, right, with your authentic rapport building. Be authentic, or the seller's spidey senses are going to say no. Let's do the script. Now, I'm going to read this thing verbatim, but I never read the thing verbatim. When I'm talking to sellers, all of these little nuggets that you're going to hear, it comes out here and there in our conversation. This is real. Okay? So let's just go ahead and read it. Then we're going to kind of review it. All right? So you kind of know why I say what I say, but I just need to stress the fact, no, you're not sitting here reading this like a robot. It's going to sound terrible. However, I want you guys to get good at this, and I want you to build your own version of this and incorporate the nuggets from the script into your authentic conversations. Without further ado, let's do this. Hey, my name is Dave. It's basically my job to learn more about you and the property and share more about what we do and see if we're a good fit for each other. We've been buying houses in and around Columbus for about 15 years. We have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and more testimonials and 5-star reviews than anyone. So I just want to be upfront. We're here to help. Even if we can't buy your house, it's my job to still at least point you in the right direction. We buy properties from people who need to sell or want to sell, but don't necessarily want to go through the process of marketing, listing, and selling with a realtor, either because A, they want to sell the property as is and not have to do any repairs. B, they want to sell to a direct buyer and not use a realtor where they have to pay commissions, etc. Or C, they want a fast or a flexible closing. Is that kind of what you were looking for? Yes, perfect. Okay. We work with people in all different situations. Sometimes people are going through something in their life which is making them need to sell fast. We can close fast in those situations. Other people don't have any financial hardship or anything like that, and they just want the process to be smooth and convenient. Sometimes we speak with people who have a house and they're not sure if they want to sell it as is for all cash or if they want to fix it up themselves and list it with a realtor. In my 15+ years of doing this, just about 100% of the time, we have found you will net the same amount or more just by selling as is. Sure, you could invest money into fixing it, but that's going to take a lot of time, which means more cost. Not to mention the cost of labor and material has never been higher, and who even has time to deal with that if you're a working person like us? It's my job to help people net the same amount or more than if they marketed, listed, and sold with a realtor. With a realtor, there's a ton of costs, commissions, fees, etc. If we could help you net the same amount or more that you would get by selling with a realtor, is that something that you're interested in? Next is, can you tell me a little bit more about the house and the situation? Can you tell me about any updates that you've done or that might be needed? All of our offers are basically formula driven. What I mean is the formula is going to look at what other cash sales there are in the area. These are the homes in your area that sold for all cash, not the homes where somebody used a loan because we're a cash buyer, so we're wanting to compare apples to apples. Also, we're going to factor in the updates we would need to do to the house. Lastly, when we buy houses, we use cash. It's not necessarily our cash, though. What I mean is we get the money from private investors who charge us a very high interest rate. After we close and fix the house, we want to take the house to a bank and refinance ASAP. The bank bases their refinance off a formula, all in 75%, just so you know. And we have to factor that into our offer. Now, I'm not here to confuse you. I'm just letting you know up front that we're going to need to come up with an offer that's realistic. During the inspection, we're not looking at your stuff and clutter or anything like that. We're only looking at major items like the foundation, mechanicals, and things like that. Also, you're going to net the sales price of the property minus any mortgages that you have or liens against the property or any back taxes that you have. All right, let me go through this. Hang on a second. Real quick here. Let's go through this script one more time. This time I'm going to basically break it down for you. So, my name and my company, just introducing myself. Here's some instant credibility. We've been buying houses around, for all these years. We have the most testimonials. That's just instilling confidence, not arrogance, right there. Be upfront. We're here to help you. There's no desperation. Hey, we're here to help. Even if we can't buy your house, no big deal. I'll still help you out, even if I can't work with you. I love this. This is true who we buy properties from. People who want to sell as is, don't want to pay commissions, or they need a faster, flexible closing. That's exactly what we do. It's exactly what you do. It's telling them what you do. We work with different people in different situations, and that's just helping them relate, and maybe there's somebody who needs a fast close. Maybe there's someone who needs a flexible close. Maybe they have financial hardship. Maybe they don't. You're just letting them know, right? We're not a one-trick pony. We're basically, maybe in their mind, they're thinking, oh, you probably just work with people who have financial hardship. I don't have financial hardship. Well, just let them know. We work with everybody. right off the bat. You're addressing this before you're addressing all their thoughts is what you're doing and their concerns before you even before they ask it. Okay? Okay, this is a good one. You get into sometimes we work with people who might want to put the work into it themselves and then list with a realtor. The reason I go through all this is because that's a very common objection you're going to get. You're going to get people who say, oh, maybe I'll just do the work on it myself and then I'll just list it with a realtor. So when you come out with this first, oh, in all my years of doing this, we have found, and this is 100% true, we have found we can actually help people net the same amount or more they would get if they marketed, listed, and so if they did all the work and took all the time and they got increased holding costs. Let them know right off the bat, it's not a good option to think you're going to put the work into it yourself and do that and list with a realtor. So abolish that objection before they even come out and try to use that on you later and say, oh, I'm just going to do it myself. Well, no, you already told them that you've been hearing this quite a bit and they're going to net the same amount or more if they marketed, listed, and sold with a realtor. But they're going to net the same amount or more just selling to you. You cover that early in the call, right? It's my job to net people. Here you go. You're just telling them there's a ton of costs in working with a realtor, and you're going to net the same amount or more just selling to us for all cash. I like to ask this. Can you tell me about the house and the situation? There's the teeter-totter, right? You're asking about the house a little bit and the situation. This is how you're kind of setting it up to kind of go back and forth. A little bit about the house, a little bit about their situation. Go back and forth. Can you tell me about any updates that you've done or that might be needed? That's a much softer way of tell me about all the bad stuff wrong with your house because they're all rough. Every house is rough. I mean, for the most part, a lot of them need work. So instead of just kind of calling the house ugly and you know, putting it in their, shoving it down their throat that the house needs work and all this. Can you tell me about any updates that you've done or any updates that might be needed? It's a much softer approach. I like this stuff. You get into we're all formula driven. So this way, when you come in with a low offer, it's a very much the vibe of, hey, don't kill the messenger. Remember, I told you it's all formula driven. We're looking at other houses in the area. Also, we need to factor in our cost of money. We need to factor in the fact that we are going to probably refinance this house or sell this house in the future. There's going to be a future appraisal. There's got to be formulas involved. So when I come with my low offer, don't kill the messenger. That's what I'm doing with that paragraph. I'm letting them know in advance, don't kill them. My offer is going to be low. And when you get to the money part, you can refer back to this and say, hey, remember how I told you it's all formula driven? What can we do here? Because when you're making these offers, you want to offer low, but you don't want to be the bad guy. It's not my fault. It's the formula's fault. Follow me? Distance yourself from it. Okay? During the inspection, a very common thing that we get, oh, I don't want people coming to my house. Oh, my place is a mess. Address that early. We're not even looking at your stuff. We're only looking at the major components, foundation, mechanicals, etc. And they want to know what their net is going to be. Well, the sales price that we agreed to and minus any mortgage, liens, or back taxes, that's going to be your net. We cover all extra costs. There's no additional fees or costs to you. Getting the contract. Over the phone, if you're getting contracts over the phone, you're gonna need DocuSign, Sign Now, or Dotloop. We use Dotloop, and then we walk the seller right through the purchase contract right over the phone. And by the way, if you would be interested in listening to full-length calls of me closing sellers over the phone and getting contracts in our private community, we have you have full access to every time I write a new contract with a seller, it's uploaded for you guys to hear from beginning to end. Nothing's edited out. And that is the way you're going to learn how to do this on the highest level. It's like listening to a podcast. I mean, I've closed so many transactions over the phone. You're going to get to hear it all, and you can really hear this stuff and find your own way. I don't expect you to say my stuff verbatim, but use the nuggets from what I do into your own authentic communication. You're going to be an expert at this, and you get full access to all of my conversations and negotiations in our private community. Also, if you're going face-to-face, just make sure a few things. If you're going face-to-face to houses, make sure your phone is charged so you can actually take pictures. I've heard this before. People go and their phone dies and you can't even get pictures of the house. But also bring 2 copies of a contract so both parties, you and the seller, both have physical copies. Um, Moving forward, in summary, we covered a lot. This was a mouthful for me. Thanks for hanging in there, but I do love talking about this aspect of the business. In summary, be yourself, be authentic. Authenticity, selling convenience, make it convenient for the seller. That's all they want. They're not looking for a silver tongue. They're not looking for a slimy salesperson, right? Just make it easy for them and you're going to do great. Be confident and you're going to win. Don't ever be pushy, defensive, or argumentative, or you've already lost. Right? You ever worked with a poor, shitty salesperson who, gets defensive and argumentative? You're never going to work with them. You've already lost. Just be yourself. Be confident. Don't be pushy. Solve problems. Make it convenient for them. Be confident. You're going to do great. In our private coaching community, as I already mentioned, you got full access to all of our recordings, and I will be sending you a PDF of the script that we just went over. Once again, guys, I want you to be successful, and we are moving right along here. So I will see you all on the next video.